Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, welcome to my stream, welcome to another chapter working on that guy right there. That is our 1/48 scale F-15C by Great Wall Hobbies. So we will get that intro going and we'll get started, shall we? Okay guys, well we finished off last time getting the two halves of the fuselage put together. I did put on our little, I don't know what they call this piece, but it's I'm going to call it the dashboard top. The top of the dashboard, I put that in last night too. Got that all done and put together, so this is all nicely glued and yeah, ready to go. And we finished off last time just assembling our two little intake tubes. I had to put clamps on it to get it to conform all the way, and once the two ends were dried, then I put a clamp in the middle and glued that. So these are done now. I do have a little bit of marks on the insides of them, a little bit. I don't think it's really necessary to worry about it. If it's a huge issue, if I can really see them when I start putting it together, then I'll deal with it. Okay. As far as the instructions go, this is basically finished this page. I've decided I don't want to have the nose cone open on this like this, okay? I don't want it displayed like that. But I do want to have the option of taking it off and seeing that nice new style radome in there. So it is nice. I did trim off the two little tabs on the inside of that, so that I can have it like this, and it's good enough that the friction alone just kind of holds it there, and so that's cool. I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm not going to glue the nose on. I'll just leave it like that. It's enough, it holds, and yeah, that's good. So at some point later on I can always go boop and have a look at that. Yeah, so that's cool. So we change the camera and we'll get working on our next step here. Okay, so with our intakes done, we're going to put them in the lower half of the fuselage along with F2. And it looks like in the lower part of the fuselage we got a bunch of holes to drill. So we got to drill the holes first before we get to that. So let's grab our lower half of the fuselage out of the box. If y'all remember, it's this piece here that's in our little cage with all of our nice little nubs attaching it. There we go. That's a nice little cage. Okay, so we've got our nubs right on the edge here that we're going to have to clean up. We'll have to clean them nicely. Actually, I don't think it really matters how nice they are on this edge, because the lower halves of the wings are going to be going on there. But just for the sake of doing it, because who knows, maybe it will interfere with the fitment if I don't clean them up nice. So I will take my razor file. I love this thing. You guys have seen me use it many times. I recommend it every time I use it. Razor file by Gun Primer in Korea. That's that guy there. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Make sure that nub is nice and smooth. because this has to mate up against here, and you want that nice and smooth there, right? All right, so we have to drill holes. The holes they are calling for, one right here, and then one, this big guy here, and a smaller one there. Okay, so I usually find that my drill bits that I have already in my pin vices are usually the right size. This one's a little too small. This one's perfect for this. This one's a perfect size for that hole. Make sure you don't put your finger right there. Don't do that. Okay, I'm gonna wind up drilling into my finger if I do that. Okay, put your finger back down so that you're not going to be drilling right there. Close enough that you're supporting the plastic, but far enough away that you're not going to drill into your finger. See? Now it went through and I missed my finger. That's the main thing. That's what you want. Okay. Don't drill into your finger. Okay, well this is the wrong size for the next one. Let's try this one here. This one's good for this. It's right on the edge here. Wow, it goes through pretty quick. They made sure it was nice and thin for you. Okay, so then we have our third one. Let's try my big guy. Hey, how about that? Now you might think, oh yeah, well this isn't a fluke. You prepared for this. You already put those in your pin vices. And actually no, these are just the standard ones I usually keep in my pin vices. That's a total fluke. It may not seem like a fluke, but it was. So now I gotta get rid of my burrs here. So just do that. Clean up our edges. These two I already know. These are going to be for the center fuel tank. This one is probably just a little fin. Little fin that goes underneath there is going to be my guess. There we go. Okay, those holes are drilled now. So we're going to get F2. Where's my effing tree? Where's that effing sprue? There it is. This little block guy right here. It's a nicely engineered little piece, except for a bunch of flashing right there. But that's no big deal. Let's clean that out. There we go. Now, how this goes in, you got a short peg and a long peg. They do show you right here which way it's supposed to go. So we want longer pegs towards the back and the short ones towards the front. And it's going to go in on these pegs right there like that. Okay? These 4 pegs. Just like that. And that's where it's going to sit. And basically that's going to act as a nice little channel for that to go in there and solidify it and give it some good solid structure for that to slide into. It's going to make it a little bit challenging to get it in there because you got to do this, right? But that's okay. If I remember correctly, I think when I was doing the F-15E, I wound up having to file down a bunch off of this edge because when I went to go in, it wouldn't. You have to go in on this angle. See how it's going like that to get in there? It wouldn't allow me because we had the top part on. I'm going to do a test fit here. Okay. We'll glue this down first. Let's get some glue on there. Okay. Put some glue on my pegs. Okay. Put this guy on. There we go. Okay, so he's in. I'm going to grab the top half of the fuselage off the sprue, this guy here. I'm going to grab that because we can do a little test fit. Okay. There's our big top half there. I seem to remember having issues with this when I was building the E version of this plane by Great Wall Hobby, which is why I want to do a test fit. So basically pretend we've got everything done and we're ready to put our two halves together, and we're going to line this up in here somehow. Doesn't seem to be much as far as what aligns this. Except maybe this pin going into that hole. That aligns it at the front. Okay, so that's how it sits like this. Nothing to interfere now, but I think we have our cone, our top that goes on there. Let's see. What point do we get to assemble that? No, it actually looks like that part goes on later. Maybe not. Did I skip it? Where do we put that on? Yeah, it goes on later. Goes on after. Well, I guess at the same time, similar time. So maybe I won't have any problems because I'll be able to just slide this in like that and do that, and it doesn't interfere at all. So I'm apparently paranoid, or my memory is going away. Probably a bit of both. Okay, so let's stop worrying about that. Intake runners, these got to go in. These are going to be left and right. Obviously this curved part won't fit if it's going towards the outside, so yeah, we need to make sure our lefts and rights are correct. Two big pins going into these little pegs there, there, and there. Do a little test fit here. Get these lined up. See where my pegs are. There's the back one, there's that one. They do drop in nice. That's a nice solid fit. No problem. I do have a little bit of a gap. You see that gap there? I don't know if this is supposed to be white as well or not. I'm going to say probably not, so I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, let's get that off of there. We'll put some glue on our pegs. Actually, I'll put glue on there. Let's do that. And that, kind of fill the holes with glue. Filling the holes with glue, that always works, right? back. Slide that down in there. There we go. I'm going to get some extra thin, and I'm going to go in along this edge here, just to kind of help it out. Just so it's not only relying on those pegs for glue. There we go. Now if you were really worried about it, you could get a piece of styrene or something, kind of put it in between here and glue it. I don't think it's necessary. They kind of sit in there pretty solid, and they're not really moving, just the way it's designed. Okay, dry fit on this side just to make sure, because you never know. You never know. Yep. Squeezes down in there nice and tight. Okay, that's good. Go on there. Go on there. Put it at an angle I could see. There we go. And down into its new home. There we go. Some extra thin on this side also. Okay, there we go. Our intake runners are in. Alright, so now with that done, our next step is to put our lower wings on. And we've got to drill out the lower wings also. Am I going to get just as lucky on my lower wings? We'll find out. Let's put this aside for a minute. Let's grab B1 and B8. There's my B tree right here. Okay. All right. There's B1 and B8. Let's clean these up. Coffee's getting a little cold. I think I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. Okay, that's nice and flat now. This one needs a little love. This is, again, these are undergated, so that's awesome. I love undergated nubs. Undergated means you're never going to see them on the edge. On the visible edge, you don't see anything because it was attached on this edge. Same with this one. Just making sure they're flush. And then we got this one up front here also. Same thing. It's undergated, so you don't see it on the outside. And that's beautiful. You don't see nothing. We've got our little notch for our machine gun. I can't remember if they call it the Vulcan on this one. Is it a Vulcan machine gun on the F-15? I don't remember. Okay, that one's clean, I believe. Yep. looks good. Okay, next. Two down, two to go. There we go. Oh, we got one more here. And that means I may have missed this one on the other one. I'm pretty sure I did, actually. Maybe I cleaned it off when I took it off the sprue, and that's why I didn't notice it. Take a look here. Oh yeah, there it is. When I trimmed it off the sprue, I got it really close, so I didn't even see it. There we go. Okay, nubs are clean. Next, drill holes. Looks like two big ones. Well, they're different size. A bigger one and a medium one. So I'm guessing my big one here is going to be this guy. Yep. See how I'm not doing it right where my finger is? I'm going to come out about 2 millimeters ahead of my finger here. And there it is, see? I'll go in this way and it should automatically get rid of my burrs. 90% of it anyway. There we go, there's one. Okay, and I'll just move over to this wing since I've got this drill in my hand. Keep calling it a drill, but technical word for these is pin vise. Not sure why I call it pin vise, but that's what they're called, pin vise. Okay, 2 of 4 are done. Let's see, is it this size? Pretty darn close. Let's double check. Yeah, that's pretty much it. A little bit of a burr on there. And I want to clean up. There we go. There we go. Our 2 holes done on that one. There we go. Okay. Done and done. Alright, so these two go on the two halves, or on these two go on these little railings, I'm going to call them, along there. And we've got lots of little pegs that are going to go in these holes like this and glue them in. It's kind of neat, they've notched this little section out here to accommodate this little sculpting part that's actually dug in there like that, so it doesn't interfere when you put this on like that. Okay, it's a nice flawless seam, exposing my bad cleanup of nub on this edge. So that should be nice and smooth. Okay, glue. I'm not going to slather glue all the way down this channel. I'm going to put glue on the holes, kind of like this. Because I'll put some thin set glue on there. That's the wrong way. I'm doing the wrong way. Am I stupid? Yes. I was just thinking to myself, it just fit 5 seconds ago. What's wrong with this? Okay, a couple of clips just to help hold it. One there. Let's see if I can get one here. Don't know if I can actually get a clip there. Maybe I'll use one of these guys. Try one of these plastic guys. Yeah, it seems to work. That works good. Okay, now with those holding, I'm going to get some extra thin and run it along there. Just kind of running along this edge here. So we can get in where the pins can't. I could technically run it along this edge too. I don't think that's necessary though, but you can. You could run it along there if you're really concerned about having a solid edge. I don't think I even need this on there. I think that's good enough. That's the way it is. Okay, there's one. So, thicker glue on here. Here. Up. I know. There we go. Another clip. There we go. And just because go. we go. Both sides do have this very tiniest little gap back here and here. I don't think it's noticeable really when I get this thing painted and everything. That's probably not going to be noticeable at all. Both sides have it though, it's equal. But along here it's nice and flush and flat, just like it should be. Okay, looks good. I don't think I need this now. So get this back up in its home. Okay. With that done, I'm going to put this aside and we'll see what's next, because that finishes off this page. This page is now done. There's nothing more to do. Step 5 is finished. Step 6 is, now we've moved on to the top half. Well, that's good. I've already taken it off the sprue. I've already taken it off the sprue here. But before I get to this, I want to address our air intakes, okay? I want to get these done because I want to do one and I'll do the other one off camera because these take a little bit of time to dry and to cure before I actually install them. I want to have that time to do that. So we're going to do that first before we do this stuff. We're going to skip ahead to step 7 here. We're going to grab our parts off of our H trees, okay? Let's find my H trees here. Find these guys. We've got H and I, depending on what you're going to be doing. Okay? Because they're giving us options here. Either have the intake vents in the horizontal state, which is flat and straight, just like you'd see in that picture there. Actually, that picture, they look like they're angled down. But anyway, or you have them in the downward state. The F-15, depending on how much air they need to be going into the engine, your intakes pivot down or they stay straight. When they pivot down, that allows air to go flow into and then up and out, and only get some air actually flowing all the way into the engine. I don't like the way they look when they're down, so I'm going to do them in the horizontal state. So which means I want the H tree and not the I. The I is if they're going to be down. Okay. The assembly is identical. The parts actually look very similar, except just the angle of them is a little different in the way they go on. And this part here has a downward angle right there. See how that angles downward? And then also the top of this is the top. I have it upside down for your piece. Here we go. The top is actually angled downward also. You see this one also, right? But I'm not going to be using that one. These ones, of course, these are straight, and then these are straight also. So let's get these off of here. So let's go with 10, 6, 7, and 3. 10, 6, 7, and 3. Here's 7. And which makes this 6. We need, oh sorry, that was 9. 9 is for this side, so we're going to put this over here. What is this? 7, 10. This is number 6. Three. 1, 2, 3, I need 7 and 10. 10 this guy. Alright. Let's get our nubs cleaned up. This is another one where they've put the nubs on the inside, which is nice of them to help out. Okay, that one's done. Now, over the years, I've built a couple of different F-15s. I think even as a teenager, I built Revell's F-15. And the way they designed these and how you put them together was a nightmare on getting them to stay together. They just don't do a good job. It's typical Revell, though. The Academy version also not very innovative in how they go together. Because you're dealing with 3 parts that have to be all lined up nicely, how they engineer it to go together really makes a big difference on how easy it is to assemble these. Great Wall Hobby doesn't do a bad job. They do alright. Okay, so this guy, he's going to go in here. And you see the bigger pegs go towards the back like this, and that's going to make this little wedge like that. Okay. Now I've primered the wrong side because I primered everything on the same day. So I'll have to get in there and primer that. It's not really going to be that big of an issue. But this is how this guy goes. Okay. So I'm kind of doing this from memory from when I did the F-15E. Put this in first, and these guys are going to help you line up your side walls because they have these little notches in there and they get lined up right on those, and that helps give you a nice solid edge like that because it goes into that little channel that's right there, and then you line it up against this edge too. And it works pretty good. It works pretty good. So, a little bit of glue here and on this edge. I'm going to do some extra thin on this also, so I get right along all the whole edge. Line that up, just like that. There we go. There's one side. Extra thin. On there. And let's get underneath here too. There we go. Alright. There's that one. Do the same on the other side. Glue on there, glue on this edge. Line that up. And there we go. Glue obviously not necessarily all the way to the back on this one. Extra thin. And under there. There we go. There's one intake done on that one. Hey, how are you? I'm good, thanks. Okay, a couple of ejector pin marks there and there that I just noticed now that this is assembled. I'm going to try and eliminate those on the other side. Gotta let this one dry though before I actually start trying to get in there with some sandpaper or anything like that. So let's take a look at the other side here. First thing I want to do is get rid of those ejector pin marks off of this one. They don't look too nice. So we're going to determine if they need to be filled. Yeah, they need a little bit of putty in them to fill them in. I'm good. So, do this. First clean up my nubs on there. Get that nice and smooth. Okay, so if I just take a little bit of sandpaper here, you'll see, you guys will see it a lot easier now when I get rid of, sand this down a little bit. What I'm talking about. Ejector pin marks. See those two little circles right there? You see those because they're actually molded in, and they're molded a little bit shallow and not quite flush. You can see them better now. So I want to sand this down just so they're not so prominent. I'm not going to notice them very much once I get this plane painted, but if I can just kind of do this a little bit and get them a little better. I'm starting to get into the center of them now, so which tells me that's a lot less raised. So just a little bit of sanding is all that's needed here. There, that's almost flush. I don't think I'm going to notice. I'm not going to be able to see them when I get this thing painted. That's better. I like that. That's a much nicer, much more flush. I can't even feel them. I can't feel them, I can only see them. And that's only because of the contrasting paint there. The other one it's going to obviously is going to be a little bit challenging because I've got it glued together. I was going to do this one off camera, but I've got time to get this other one done. So we'll get our other pieces off of the sprue. And we'll get this one glued together after we clean them up. Okay, so remember we put this on first. Okay. Take this guy. He's going to go on this side. Oh, we got to clean that up. Okay. So we'll put a little bit of glue on this edge and here. Line him up. There we go. Just like that. And then we'll take some extra thin. Extra thin along the edge here and on the inside, just to make sure, just like that. All right, now this guy. This is the one I accidentally took off before. All right, that one's done. So, a little bit of glue. This edge. And in there. Line him up. And there we go. And same thing, a little bit of extra thin. Some on that edge. And just a little on the inside too, just so that we make sure we've got it glued nicely. And there we have our second intake. Okay, second intake assembled. Okay. So like I said, I just wanted to get those two done before I get going here today. Obviously I'm going to have to get in here and sand these. Now these ones, they feel like they're actually raised, but I think it's just a little lip on the edge of that circle. Let me grab a little tiny sanding stick here and just have a look quickly before I go. It feels like these on this one, they're raised up, whereas the other one, they were indented. You see how they're kind of opposite, right? They're literally opposite. So I gotta burnish these down, get them down so that they're flush. I might use my little reciprocating sander. That'll probably be the easiest way to do it. Otherwise, I'll be sitting here for 20 minutes just doing this to sand them down. But you know what? This is actually a little therapeutic. Anyway, that is where I'm going to leave it. I got to get going now, guys. That's going to be it for today. That's it for this session. If you check out down in the description box, you're going to see some links to my Twitch and my Instagram and stuff like that. And you can follow me on Twitch and you can talk to me live, stuff like that. I invite all the comments and all that kind of stuff. On my Instagram, you'll find a whole bunch of pictures. You're going to see a lot of pictures of everything that I've built in the past. Every time I finish a build, I take a bunch of pictures of it and I put it up on my Instagram. You can check those out too. And please guys, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you so choose. I'd really appreciate it. It helps my channel out. So anyway guys, I want to thank you for watching. Thanks for coming out. I'll see you on the next one.